Someone was throwing these two frames out on garbage night, and I scooped them up. The only thing wrong was that one had artwork inside that had become unglued and slid downward in the frame. If you go back a little bit on my YouTube channel, you will see how I used one of these frames already to frame a Silver Streak poster that measures 12 by 36, I think, and that came out nicely. But what to do with the second frame? It's too nice to leave just hiding in the basement, and I thought to myself, I have a lot of old Laserdiscs, which are about the same size as record albums. I think they're 12 by 12 inches, and 3 of them should fit pretty nicely within this second frame. I will just bend these staples outward and not remove them because I want to reuse them to hold in my new artwork once I get it properly matted. The backing, this cardboard backing, I'll keep, but the artwork can go straight into the garbage can. I briefly thought about reusing this mat board that came with the original artwork, but it's a weird color. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I found some nice tan mat board with a black core. And the black will show nicely once I cut the beveled edges at 45 degrees to, actually go around the laser discs. There should be just enough room between the laser discs for me to have an inch between the 3 and about 1.5 inches around the outer sides. This little tool holds a sharp blade at a 45-degree angle, and that will give me the beveled edge inside the mat board so that I have a nice edge against my artwork, which in this case are going to be 3 laser discs. I have a particle board shelf that is 2 things. It's very heavy, so it holds well against the mat board, and the edges are very straight. And I run my mat cutting tool against it to lines that I have marked on the mat board, careful not to go past those lines. It's hard to judge. You have to practice a few times before you work on your final project, or else you'll just cut right through to the end of the mat board. But if you do it right, you'll pop out the little centerpiece and be left with some nice 45-degree beveled edges. Since the laser discs measure about 12 inches square, I want my openings to be, I think mine are a little bit less than 11.5 inches, and that will give a little lip on the inside of the mat board to hold the laser discs in place. But I don't want to glue them to the back of the mat board. I want to figure out a way to hold them where they should be, but without altering their condition in case I ever want to resell these or replace them. So what I did, I found some foam core and I cut them into little strips and I measured them carefully, and I'll hold them in place with some hot glue. And the foam core is about the same width, the same depth as the laser disc. And if I separate these right, if it goes well, the laser disc should be held in place and still be removable in the future. Each laser disc is a little bit different than the other, so in order to have them centered correctly when they face outward, I have to play with the placement of the foam core on the back. It'd be nice if I could just do one solid piece of foam core along each of the outer long edges and then just one thin piece between the thin vertical parts. But the lettering, the graphics of each Laserdisc are just a little bit different, so I have to do the placement of the foam core different for each disc. So maybe I will be limited to what other type of artwork I can put in these in the future. Maybe they'll just stay with the Ferris Bueller and the Back to the Future and the 16 Candles. I like those movies anyways, so I don't think I'll ever want to take this apart, and I will just make this nice and neat for these 3 particular movies. Seriously, who doesn't love Matthew Broderick? There's really no need for me to show the process, but I took the glass out and I made sure both sides were very clean, and I also made sure to check for any little specks of dust or any kind of lint, anything that would show up once the artwork was in place. It's good, so the mat board goes back in. Then Ferris Bueller, Marty McFly, and the cast of 16 Candles are ready for their new homes. This is the cardboard backing from the original artwork. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the right size, so I will reuse it here. It fits back within the staples that I bent outward earlier, and now they just had to be bent back down to hold all the new artwork, the glass, and this old backing in place. This is a pretty heavy frame, and when it came to me, it had some reinforcements at each corner. I had to remove those to get to the artwork and install the new artwork. The frame is even heavier now than when I found it, so I am reinforcing the corners with some plywood that was trimmed with my table saw, and it will be held in place with some polyurethane adhesive. Pushing the two surfaces together and then pulling them apart will allow the glue to activate a little bit better, and after 5 minutes or so, you can push them back in place and staple them down for the final time. The picture hanging wire and the mounting hardware was missing from the original piece of art, so I bought this set, and once it's installed, this second piece of artwork will be ready to go up next to its sister piece, the Silver Streak poster.